Yeah, and the race that he actually won last year put him right on the verge of the semi-final, only to miss out on position countback. But let's not put it past him. He went on and beat a few of the top Europeans in that. It wasn't just any win. He beat guys who were in the final and in the semi-finals.
Absolutely, and so he can be expected to put a tough performance out there in the races, especially when in a straight fight. You certainly wouldn't spill his beer, would you, Slavek Piskors? Right, Michael Beddoes is up there as well, and Rob Duma. Now, Rob Duma's interesting because he is, interestingly, another speedway rider from Poland, a friend of Slavek Piskors. In fact, it was Slavek that got him into this event and karting generally. So Rob Duma, another one moving from 2 wheels to 4. Rob Duma not quite had the same results as the other speedway rider, Slavek Piskors, but Rob Duma, he's well chipping away at it. We tend to, when we're comparing these two great friends, we do really look at Slavek, but Rob Duma could have something to say in this. I wouldn't rule him out yet. Cheyenne Davis, multiple podiums in the Natska series, and then Chris Pease. Chris Pease has done an awful lot of things there. He's only done half a season last year, but he's going to be back with the Rugby Kart Club, regular with them. But he has been the champion before in the NKC and CSMA Club Championships 2014-2015, and of course Michael Weddle, he's out there, BRKC finalist in 2015, Raceland champion from Edinburgh. Quite a few Scottish drivers coming down from Edinburgh, and they tend to show well, even if we saw poor Asim Akram getting well duffed up in the last place finish and bundled pit stop and all that in the last race. Right, so we're about to conclude the qualifying laps, and the first drivers through are going to be, that's Chris Pease on the pole position at the moment. Michael Weddle has moved to pole now. He's on the provisional pole. It's all about where Matthias Grooten comes in, and Matthias Grooten predictably takes the pole. It's going to be a hard one to beat. We're still getting the karts coming through, but can you see anyone beating Matthias Grooten?
No, absolutely not. Weddle was really my shout to beat him. Although Rob Duma jumps in at third just behind Mike Weddle. But that is, what's that, 3.5 tenths? Double world champion, really?
Absolutely. Matthias Grooten showing exactly why he is a double world champion. But showing well is Michael Weddle, Rob Duma and Slavek Piskors. We would talk about them in the race build-up there. And, of course, saying about how Rob Duma could well do something. And he has. He's put one over on his mate.
Yeah, well, I raced at Slavek's party here. We had a two-hour endurance, and I was on a team with Rob Duma, and he was flying. He's a real under-the-radar driver, but he's definitely. I can see him staying ahead of Slavek and actually challenging Mike here.
Well, it's going to be very interesting because, of course, Slavek Piskors we know is a tough fighting type of competitor. He's in 4th place. If he can catch him, he will have a pop up, every one of them in front of him. He's not going to be put off by Matthias Grooten, double world champion. He's going to go for this win himself from 4th place.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I was looking at the competitors here. Matthias Grooten, obviously 2014-15 BRKC final, had a slight contact with Ed White, which caused a little bit of controversy. He's a fighter. Mike Weddle, he's Scottish, he's a fighter. And then you have the two behind them who are not going to let up. So this actually has the makings of a really intense race.
I don't think we're going to see the kind of runaway victory we saw in the previous heat race. Chris Pease, of course, Chris Arrow Pease down in 5th place. And Chris there is, well, he's going to be looking for points as well. And as we work down the order, the 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th, they could actually be all in many different positions. Anyway, here we are for the start. Leading the way is double world champion Matthias Grooten, leads the field with Michael Weddle behind him. Now Weddle's on the attack immediately into the stale section, but Grooten's got it covered. Meanwhile, the two poles are tight behind them, and it's still absolutely nose to tail. Matthias Grooten has the makings of a kart length lead, but as we look to the backstretch now, Sean Briley, Grooten does have his hands full, double world champion or not.
Yeah, Mike Weddle was right on the back of him at the start, and actually they're already starting to gap Rob Duma and Slavek. Rob Duma already going partly defensive, but I see Grooten, yeah, that's half a kart length. I can see him pulling out a kart length by the end of this. I think he's just got a little bit more out of the snail section than Weddle does.
Absolutely, and pulling away in the lead, it's the top 5 with, at the tail of that top 5 is Chris Pease. Chris Pease is on the tail of Slavek Piskors, and well, they're really, really going for it, these top 5. Sean, you were right, absolutely, about the two poles dropping back a little bit with Duma getting defence. Here we're on the backstretch. There is Matthias Grooten, there is Weddle, and here comes Rob Duma. And Rob Duma and Slavek Piskors and Chris Pease are definitely not getting dropped, and they are going to stay in contention. The question could be, will anyone try and pit out of this? Sean, I think the top 5 are wise to stay in the fight for the moment. Would you say that?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's getting held up. Actually, the only person who might be getting a little bit frustrated is Chris Pease in 5th. He seems to have a little bit more than Slawek, but actually this is a really good show from Chris Pease. He's never really been challenging the top 5 right off the bat, but here, as you can see, he's nose to tail with Slawek, and I wonder if we'll see a move from him.
Absolutely. Chris B is a man to watch in 5th place. There he is in the green helmet on screen now, just turning into the corner there. So it's Groton, Weddle, and here come the 2 poles, Duma, Piscors, and then Chris Pease. Now, Chris Pease is the one who's really most fighty in all of this at all. He is on the back of Slawek, Piscors, and clean says, oh, we've got a pit stop, It's the 15. The 15 is Chris Machel. He's pit stopping out of 6th place. I think that could be a wise move there. He resumes in 10th place, but he is the first pit stopper. And meantime, the actual fight is with Chris Pease. Chris Pease all over the back of former Polish Speedway champion Slawek Piscors. Matthias Groton leads the way with Michael Weddle. Michael Weddle is not allowing the double world champ to pull away. The organisers are on everything already. Apparently there's been some controversy with drivers not slowing down after the checker flag. They do need to come round to the pits, but the drivers, they're already, there's a few people getting in trouble for not slowing down after the checker, so everyone really needs to be on the case with that one. And for Marshall's safety, they're calling it, so everyone needing to back it off a little bit after the checker. I think some racing resuming. Talking of resuming racing, Michael Weddle is 2 car lengths behind Matthias Groton, and that says a lot for anybody. Michael Weddle really meaning business. He's come down from Edinburgh yet again. He's shown a little bit of a checkered past at BRKC, a little bit sort of a Johnny Elliott performer really sometimes. It goes well and then it goes badly for Michael Weddle, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 2014, he was straight up into the final, P10. I think he had a good fight with one of the Europeans again. But then again, for the last 2 years, he made it into the semi-finals, I believe, last year after a great fight with Jake Campbell-Mills in the final heat for the final spot. But no, and actually, as I was about to say that Mike looks like he's tagging Matthias quite well, but actually, that lap, I think he's just gone and lost a couple of tenths. Looking back, if I were Chris, I would actually stay out, but I think a pit stop has to come as soon as he can break the gap to number 17, who is Emil Ski. As soon as he breaks that gap, I reckon if he pits, he can jump Slawek because he has got a lot more speed than him. Absolutely
right. The tempting thing, though, Chris probably is enjoying the fight, and he may not be thinking like we're thinking. Meanwhile, in the commentary box, we've got Lewis Manley. Lewis, obviously, you're gunning for the title this year. That was Philpott checked out in that last race. How do you read that one?
Yeah, absolutely, because he was gone from the start. Because when he had kart 20, I knew he would do pole and win the race because it's looking, out of the 3 heats, it's looking pretty fast so far. And in my heat, second was the maximum I could do, so I was no way going to challenge Philpott for the win. So at least I'm happy with the start, but got to try and win my next heat.
Absolutely, and to be fair, both of you gapped quite well to Sam Spinell, who we know is very fast. So both of you two absolutely flying out there. Going into the next bunch. Oh, we've got a pit stop. Sorry, we've got a pit stop. Okay, and we've had some excitement down while we were talking to Lewis Manley. There was a stopper came out and nearly stuck Matthias Groton in the wall. So a real tight one down there developing. So we've got Groton, who still has a good lead, 3 or 4 kart lengths from Michael Weddle. And then, of course, the back marker. We've got in the pits now, it's Chris Pease. Chris Pease does pit out of 5th place. We were talking whether he would actually be enjoying the fight too much to think of pitting, but he has pitted himself out of 5th place, and it drops him down to about 7th at the moment. That does give Slawek Piscors in 4th place a nice little breather there. Matthias Groton leading the way from Michael Weddle. There we are. There's Rob Duma, and then a back marker, and then Slawek Piscors. Slawek Piscors is going to be keen to get hold of Duma in 3rd place. He could do with the points. In fact, he comes in the pits. Here comes Slawek Piscors. So Slawek Piscors takes the first pit stop, moves on to the second one, and we'll see what he can do. Oh, just about. Gosh, he was rolling before that green came on, so he probably judged that one to perfection. He's come out way ahead of Chris Pease. So Slawek Piscors done himself a big ton of favours in that pit stop. Just there. It is Matthias Groton, though, still in the lead. He's the fastest kart on the track by 1/10 of a second from Michael Weddle. No one yet into the into the 32s, but we have Rob Duma pitting out of third place. Rob Duma has come into the pits. He's made his first stop. Here he is making his second. This is the third place driver. He needs to come out of Slavik Piskor's. Piskor's been held up though. We've got someone else in the pits, but Piskor's has been held up and Duma comfortable in third place. 17 into the pits is Emil Ski. Emil Ski we can see in the pits as we speak. He's going to go down the order a bit with that. He pitted behind Chris Pease and in fact drops to 9th. Now, Matthias Gruten and Michael Weddle in the pits. Michael Weddle pits out of second place. Sean, Michael Weddle into the pits. How do you read this situation?
Well, the first stop was pretty good. He's come up to the second stop. Oh, he's overshot it a little bit. He's on the middle line, but he's come back out and, well, look at that. It's a completely clear gap to Rob Duma. I just want to point out the gap between Rob Duma and Slavik now. Yes, Slavik was held up, but Rob Duma, I'm pretty sure, has the fastest pit stop lap we've seen so far. That was completely on the line. Slavik's was okay, and as you can see, Chris has dropped off. His was significantly slower. I think that's where Chris lost all of his time. So now he's going to have to make a move on track. But I expect to see Gruten in the pits in the next couple.
Absolutely. Great work in the pits there by Rob Duma, who is third place. And in the pits again, we have, I believe it's the race leader, Matthias Gruten. Matthias Gruten comes out of the pit in the lead. And what a lead there, Sean. What a lead by Matthias Gruten. Incredible that he's able to strategize that and strategize an even bigger lead.
Yeah, no, he did a 42.3, Bjorn? 43.3, which is even quicker than Rob Duma. Is again the quickest lap time we've seen, the quickest pit stop lap we've seen to date. But I think this race is all but wrapped up for him now. I don't see him being caught.
Absolutely. Matthias Gruten, though, is being held up by back marker. He's, oh gosh, yes, he nearly lost some time there. That's Cheyenne Davis, who's got multiple podiums in other forms of karting, but being lapped now by Matthias Gruten as he continues on his way. Yes, Michael Weddle was able to close up, but it's Matthias Gruten we're talking about here. This is someone by whom most others judge themselves. Oh, and a tight one at the back there. I think that involved Michael Weddle waving his fist.
Yeah, again, that was a back marker, just not quite getting out of the way. Tried to leave a gap, couldn't see anyone coming inside and closed the door and pushed Mike straight into the wall. I was about to say, Matthias actually lost 1.5 seconds up behind the back marker. It's about the same, and Weddle is still stuck behind, and I can see him getting a little bit of Scottish rage on him now.
Absolutely, yes. And bundling his way through. My goodness, that was a swipe and a half. This is all good news for Rob Duma. Rob Duma is in third place, and this really is a great showing by the pole. Rob Duma is really trying to squeeze past the back marker now, and that has put him really in with a shot of Michael Weddle. Only a few car lengths. Slavik Piskor's behind, and Chris Pease now closing in on Slavik Piskor's. Matthias Gruten getting caught behind another back marker. Gruten is not having it his own way in this race. Great strategy, but when it's coming down to actually getting through back markers, we've never seen Gruten struggle like this before. No,
we haven't. And actually, I've just seen Ollie Fox actually run out into the middle of the field with the blue flag to try and make sure that people get let by, because obviously they're not quite seeing it as they come around the corner.
Obviously, the tough part of it really is the back markers. They're all A-grade karters, and they are in their own race. They are trying not to lose. They're not used to having to get out of the way of leaders. Unfortunately, in this case, it is double world champion that they're having to get out of the way of, so you can expect them to be quicker. Meantime, Michael Weddle is maintaining a decent gap, and Rob Duma, in fact, when you think first to third, that's as close as we've seen so far, Sean. Is there a chance in this for Rob Duma, or do you think Matthias Gruten will actually continue to increase his lead? He is currently fastest, 33.0, not yet a 32-second lap, but 33.0 is the fastest race lap so far.
Yeah, I don't really see these positions changing too much, aside from that battle for fourth and fifth. Now, Chris Pease is completely closed in, and Weddle is caught up behind a back marker a little. He's going to get let through, but not without a little bit of a fight for some reason. But no, fourth and fifth. Now, Chris Pease is closing in, and Chris Pease is actually second quickest on the track behind Gruten. He is actually quicker than Weddle on his fastest lap, and yeah, I can see some interesting battles later on. That's what we're going to be looking at.
Absolutely, and yet again, we've seen Rob Duma benefiting really from back marker kerfuffle. The back marker waves Rob Duma through, and Rob Duma, we're looking at Weddle, and here comes Duma on screen now. There's Rob Duma. So we can see the gap is really relatively close from Weddle to him, probably close as it's been. Slavik Piskor's has a back marker, and Chris Pease, once again, all over the back of Slavik Piskor's. Chris Pease, a great showing. It makes you think we could actually get even better from him as the event goes on.
Yeah, no, he's something he always does tend to get better as it goes on. But as you can see right now, this is the closest Chris Peace has been since before the pit stop, and Slavic's already starting to go defensive. Just another brief note for everyone else who's stood up watching at the moment, the Bandit Foods is now open downstairs if you want to go down. Jonathan's there waiting for you.
Absolutely. Formula Fast, of course, famous for its pizza, but they've also got Bandit Foods outside the front door as well. And so there's plenty to keep people warm food-wise. We've obviously already mentioned about some people getting in trouble for not slowing down after the checkered flag, obviously safety risk. Also got to remember, there's a few people, Sean, falling foul of crossing the white line, the blend line, coming out the pits. It's vital they stay that side, or Ollie's just going to be kicking out penalties, isn't he?
Yeah, and we all know how Ollie likes to kick out a few penalties here and there. But he's, no, yeah, seriously, guys, stick to the inside of the white lines. We already saw Gruton always being pushed in a wall, and it can only end badly.
Absolutely. I mean, going back to Ollie, it has to be said he runs a good show here, and he's not one to be backward in coming forward about dishing things out. He will bust people if they keep messing around like this. We've already seen him in the middle of the racetrack waving flags at people. So and we're only on heat 4, so maybe it'd probably take him outside for a good shoeing if things get worse than this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think anyone who falls foul of him is probably going to have to go get him a brisket sandwich from downstairs. I heard he was. That's a thumbs up from Ollie.
Would you want to fall foul of Ollie?
Oh, absolutely not. He's easy 5'6". It's quite scary.
Absolutely. Ollie, Demetrius Fox with Phil Stanley, of course, running a great show here at Formula Fast. They've really taken this event to themselves, made it their own, working very tight with Brad Philpott. They have a great input. And that's why we get people like double world champion Matthias Gruton, who's now gone into the 32-second bracket, wanting to come and race here in the British Championship. Real sort of international field. Showing how it should be done, though, in a sort of Bradley Philpott kind of way, is Matthias Gruton, and he's looking good for the win in this race. Sean, Michael Weddle's still there in second, but he's now 0.3 of a second back from Matthias in terms of pure pace.
Yeah, I think this is where it comes into it, that Weddle's come down, has a few practices now, and one lap and he can get that focus down. But I mean, Matthias is experienced in endurance racing, so he can do this for probably another 3 hours solid, no problems, whereas Weddle's focus might be starting to waver a little bit. And obviously he looked a little bit shaken ever since he was held up by the back marker, and he lost a bit of focus and he got a little bit angry. So he's calmed himself down now, and he's actually starting to gap Rob Doomer again. He's got just shy of 2 seconds now. But yeah, I'm still looking at this Chris Pease battle, because this is by far the best running I've seen from Chris, and I'm kind of excited. I'm actually kind of cheering for him here.
Absolutely. We've just seen them on the backstretch on screen there. Chris Pease in the green helmet. Here we are. Here's Chris Pease in the green helmet, chasing down Slavik Piskorz in the generally white helmet in front of him. And this is where the battle is, isn't it? Absolutely. Slavik Piskorz, we've seen him win a BRKC heat race, and he really has to be one of the increasingly established stars. And Chris Pease having a look at position there. Look at this. There they are. There's Piskorz leading Pease as we come onto the backstretch. So, will Pease have a look? He's looking towards the inside. He's thought better of it, but he's caused Slavik to have to defend. Now that Slavik runs wide as a result. Pease is all over the back of him. He's absolutely got the attention, full attention of Piskorz, hasn't he? Can you see something coming of this, Sean?
I think Slavik's wise to the back straight. He's just gone down into the middle. Nothing epic. It would take a full-blown move like they did on Tyler Mays last year to get by him there. That actually Slavik's line through the last corner is very wide. And if Chris is brave enough, I think that's going to be where he has to make his move. Because through the snail and down the back straight, as we come down again, Slavik's already taking the middle line. Yeah, he's going to have to do it in this complex here.
Absolutely. We're looking again at the fourth place battle there with Slavik Piskorz and Chris Pease, but it's actually quite a cat and mouse battle from second through third, fourth and fifth. And the interesting thing to note is, on terms of pure fastest laps, it is Chris Pease in fifth place, who's currently second fastest in the race.
And he's being held up, and that's the point I was saying, that when he came out of the pits, he did actually lose about 2.5 to 3 seconds, which he's managed to close down in just over 5 minutes, and that is no mean feat. But if he can't, and this is why qualifying is so important, it is possible to overtake. It is. I've done it. It feels so good when it happens, but it is still very difficult. And for someone who's not able to attack someone ahead, the guy ahead can then just sort of defend without any worries, because he can't go any further. He can only go back. So why would he leave an opening?
Well, that's very interesting insight there, Sean. you had to actually fight to your front, didn't you? And you made it work. It is very possible to overtake here, and the top races are showing it is. Slavik Piskors once again on the backstretch there. We've seen him getting defensive there against Chris Pease. It's possible that an unchained Chris Pease, shall we say, could well have been running as high as third, maybe. Certainly, he's got the pace to run up there. We've got Matthias Gruten in the lead, showing why he's a double world champion. He has the fastest lap of this race. Chris Pease in fifth place, though, is the second fastest. And Duma, Piskors, Weddle, they're all right up there too in terms of pure time. Sean, it's getting interesting with Matthias Gruten because he's actually catching up to two back markers. Could this be a chance for Weddle?
Well, no, in all honesty, I think Weddle's now too far back. He's being gapped at, he's losing a second every 3 laps now. I think his main worry about is the fact that he will catch those back markers too, and his worry is going to be Rob Duma. But I also feel like 4th and 5th will catch them, and then we'll see how smart Slawek can be and if he can keep us cool.
Absolutely, and here comes Michael Weddle. He's moving ahead of a back marker. There's Duma, and here comes the Piskors and Pease battle. This really is quite something. I think Chris Pease has had a look at every part of the racetrack to try and pass Slavik Piskors, but Slavik is a very, very tough competitor. Sean, you've got something for us?
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at the times, and it's just dawned on me that visually, Rob Duma looks a lot closer to Slawek than before. Despite the battling, they're actually closing in on third, whilst Weddle's pulling away. I'm not sure. I mean, Rob's last time I just checked was a 34.5 compared to, they gained 2 tenths on him whilst battling, and that could spice up. But as there's only 2 minutes left, I'd be surprised if they catch him.
Well, what you're saying makes perfect sense, Sean, because Slavik Piskors, he's one of these people who he can fight without losing time. Chris Pease, as we were saying, is the second fastest, so Chris Pease is going to match Piskors, whatever Piskors does in terms of time. We can expect that. And Piskors is able to fight without losing time. That's bad news for third place Rob Duma. Meanwhile, we can see that Matthias Gruten, he continues on his way. As you said, Sean, he could do this all day long. Also, from his point of view as well, with the endurance racing, he is a member of the fabled Blue Star Racing team. They're one of, if not the top European team when it comes to endurance racing, and Matthias Gruten is one of their top racers. Features regularly with that team in the big European long distance races, so battling back markers is not going to be a problem for him. We've got Chris Pease is still second fastest in terms of the lap times. He is faster than Rob Duma, who's running third. Somehow he's doing that while battling with Slavik Piskors. It's Pease. We really didn't consider him as being the star of this race, but arguably he's been the most exciting of the lot so far.
I've been really excited to watch him because this is just not something I expected, and I'm pleasantly surprised. But I figured out why he was able to do that lap. He took a small shot at Slawek coming out of the Snell section where he is now into this left-hander and backed off. Then he was able to use the gap that he created to put in a lap time straight up like that. So, if he qualified higher, I reckon he would have actually been the best shout to keep Matthias honest.
Absolutely. I was thinking earlier that Chris Pease, an unchained Chris Pease, may well have been a top 3 competitor, but he's certainly showing a great form here, and it's really tightening up at the back there. We've got some back markers as well as, or two back markers, as well as Rob Duma, Slavik Piskors. And look at this in the Snell section, it's getting very tight indeed. We've got Duma third as they come onto the backstretch. There is Duma in third. Now here are two back markers, and Piskors fighting his way through from Chris Pease. A very, very tough battle. We've got the checker now. It's Matthias Gruten who wins. Matthias Gruten has won from Michael Weddle, but look what's going on back. Chris Pease having a last-ditch effort in the final hairpin from Slavik Piskors. Piskors, Weddle's taken second, but here comes and Duma third. But there's Piskors just pipping Chris Pease there, waving at each other. A bit of a handshake there between the 4th and 5th place drivers. What a finish there. It was only for 4th place. We've got Bjorn Vermeulen up here. Bjorn, you won the first race, opened your 2017 racing year, as well as BRKC in fine style. How was it for you? It actually looked pretty straightforward from up here, but I bet it wasn't like that in the car.
Well, it was pretty straightforward, but after the first qualifying, I messed up the qualifying just a little bit. I lost about 1/10, 2/10 in the Snell section. I drifted a little bit too much. So first of all, I was happy, and I wasn't happy that the qualifying started again. Then I thought I was first in the second qualifying, reasonably happy. But Oliver Bayani was really close behind me. After the first few laps, went pretty good. But Oliver Bayani was really right behind me, so I had to put, like they say in Belgium, toot whiff. I have to put up the pace a bit. Yes. And after about 10 laps, I created a gap. I kept going forward. I saw that Regis Gosselin was attacking Oliver Bayani as well. And then I saw a few back markers, did my pit stop, really concentrating that I didn't mess up the pit stop because I was first. And then after that was straightforward, just keep on going, keep up the pace, and then I took the win. So I'm really happy.
Excellent, Bjorn. And of course, the efforts of Bayani and Gosselin behind you really forced you to be very correct in all cases, I should imagine.